Welcome, everybody. We are happy to do this podcast tonight. We were going to save this podcast tomorrow night and do a recap with the women's game because we thought for sure we might lose it. Although I did pick it in my bracket. So Iowa moves on to the Sweet 16. It's in my bracket. What a game. What a game. We blow a 12-point lead. Then we build it back to 10 and we blow that lead and actually lose the lead. And somehow I predicted, I told you guys in that timeout that Sturts was going to hit his three, that he's going to finally hit the three for the game winner. Sturts did better than that. He assisted Fulgaris, who hit the game winner.
Yeah, it was so funny. It was so funny. My ESPN kept telling me the final score like 2 minutes before the game was over on my TV. It was like, I don't know why that was happening, but.
So you knew before that even happened then.
When I put in Messenger a winner like that's when we won the game.
Oh.
You know. And nobody else reacted in the Messenger, but it's like me and you are both acting like we're slap happy drunk just because Iowa won a basketball game. But it's been a long time, Dean.
Sweet 16, what was it 98 or 99?
99. Yeah. The last
season.
The last game that we beat Clemson on, what was that, Friday? That was the first time. That was the first time that I would won an NCAA game against a Power 5 basketball team in an NCAA tournament since '99. And then now tonight we're going to Sweet 16 for the first time since 1999.
Here's an interesting stat. Going in today's game, Iowa was 1-5 on neutral sites in the NCAA tournament against the number one seed. Today, they're 2-5.
Well, you remember the other game is that one I just mentioned off the air. It was Lute Olson getting us to the Final Four. We beat Syracuse in 1980. That's 46 years ago.
That was the one game we won until now.
That's right. So it's been a long time, you know. And it's so funny. I put up the highlights of that game on Facebook pages, you know, just a couple days ago.
Yeah. Well, you remember when we had Steve Krafthison on, I put on the last 20 minutes of the game or something, or last whatever it was.
That was the Georgetown game. That was the Georgetown game.
That's true. That's true.
Syracuse was the number one seeded team. Mm-hmm. And Georgetown was number 2. And we beat both of them. But anyway.
Yeah. But no, this is exciting. We're going to get to play Nebraska a third time this year. We're 1-1 against Nebraska. We'll be on a neutral site. I like our chances. What do you think?
Well, I do too. We beat them once, and the other game we tied them, really. Mm-hmm. Went into overtime. So Nebraska's playing awful good right now. But
yes, they are.
If I know Dean had to get his cameras all set up, but Dean didn't get to watch the Barkley and Seth Davis and the guy Clark Kellogg. Mm-hmm. They were on and they just said Iowa won that game 40 ways for Sunday. They outplayed. They did. All three of them said that, and they just kept going on and on that Ben McCollum's the best coach. Mm-hmm. You know, boy, is he a great coach. You know, and they said, they go, people down in Northwest Missouri State tonight are celebrating because their coach, who was there for 13 years, just won tonight, you know. So
I was hoping Rick would be on tonight, but he could brag a little bit about his great coach and stuff. And so. But yeah, I mean, I could see us going in the Elite 8. Really, I mean, this is exciting. This is very exciting. In Ben's first year, he accomplished something that Fran wasn't able to do in his however many years he was there, 15 or 16 years. Something that Steve Alford didn't accomplish. Something Todd Licklider didn't accomplish. The last person to
Tom did it
accomplish this
twice.
was Tom Davis. Yeah, Tom Davis.
Oh, Tom just did. Tom went to the Elite Eight once.
Yeah, once. And
Sweet 16
and
probably 3 times, but
just a couple of buckets away from going to the Final Four that year. You know, everybody remembers that loss to UNLV after we were dominating UNLV in that game. We totally dominated that game. Second half, UNLV went on a run and we still had a chance to win.
And almost in that game, Kevin Gamble, he was like carrying us. He had like 18 points in the first half, but in the first minute and a half of the second half, he got 2 fouls, so he had 4 fouls, and that's why we lost the game. And I thought the same thing was going to happen tonight when all our big people got fouls. Remember, they had to all go to the bench, you know.
Yep.
And I thought there's no way. I just said that's going to kill us, you know. When Koch got fouls, Falgaris, and Manyow. Did Banks get in foul? Banks wasn't in too bad of foul trouble, was he?
He did pick up 4 in the game.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, our foul trouble was pretty bad, but I don't understand the referees. I don't understand the referees because, first of all, they just loaded up all the fouls and called them on Iowa. Then they quit calling them on Iowa and then loaded it up and started calling them on Florida. You know, it's like, okay, guys, first 10 minutes, we call Iowa for everything. Second 10 minutes, we call Florida for everything.
So it was probably a pretty difficult game to referee, probably as physical.
I love how the
everybody's trying to go over the back and everything. But anyway, Iowa played great. So
yeah, no, I just wanted to say that I love how the referees handled the Falgaris and the Condon little brouhaha there. I did mention their thing. Yeah, I thought Falgaris, before we actually got to see the whole replay, I said, yeah, Falgaris is gone, but so should Condon. And I love how the referees basically made it, since it was a dead ball issue, that they made it double technicals. And so I like that. I mean, Iowa's ball.
I'm sure glad there's instant replay, because boy, at first glance, I thought Alvaro doubled up his fists and swung, you know.
Well,
but they kept showing
the
replay, and he never doubled up his fist. He just slapped the hand on the ball, you know, aggressively after he got thrown down. You know, but
Condon, they should have whistled him right then and there when he threw down Garris like that. You know, the ball was already whistled a jump ball. They'd already whistled a jump ball. And then he takes it upon himself to throw Falgaris down on the game. And he was doing exactly what he was probably told to do, to see if he could, you know, see if these guys could get a little rise out of us and get themselves ejected out of the game. You know, I don't know. There's something about that Florida coach I don't like. There's just something about his demeanor during the game I didn't like.
Yeah, but you got to understand, I will say, you know, that coach thought he saw what we saw. What we thought we saw, you know, at first, you know, but what did Ben say? What did Ben say on the microphone? He said, "Oh, that coach got a little flighty, didn't he, or something?" He got a little too emotional, you know.
I think Ben got a little too emotional either, but I think this. You think this was an emotional, hard-fought game? Wait till we play Nebraska next Friday, Thursday, next Thursday. Yeah, Thursday this week.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be fun and exciting. We hit more field goals than they did. 51% shooting. They were 50% shooting. As bad as our 3-point shots going down today, because we only shot 29%, we did hit more 3-pointers than they did, which shocked me, considering number 10 seemed like he was putting in 3-point shots all over the place.
Well, I just know Koch got hot, and Falgaris probably hit a couple, didn't he? You know, but I don't know. Did we take more than they did?
Did we what?
Did we take a lot more 3-point shots than
Yes.
Florida did? Probably.
We took 24. They took 19.
Okay.
We had 22 free throw opportunities. They had 27. They were 20 for 27. We were 14 for 22. We shot a dismal 63% from the free throw line, but honestly, they weren't much better at 74. We out rebounded this team. We got more offensive rebounds than they did. They beat us defensive rebounds by 1 ball. They had more assists and they had more steals, 7-4, and 1 block shot. They turned the ball over 11 times. We turned it over 9. Off of turnovers, we had 11 points. They had 8. Fast break points were 9. And this is crazy. And they had 7. This is crazy since we're not a team that fast breaks much.
Yeah. But if anybody had told me that we would have out-rebounded them before the game started, I'd have said, "Yeah, you're drinking or you're on drugs or something." But
maybe we should have put the 7'9" guy in.
They should have. We just boxed out so good. And again, you didn't see Seth Davis and Charles Barkley made this point. He said, "What an ingenious strategy by Iowa." He said all 5 Iowa players played when we were on offense. They all played out at the 3-point line. Mm-hmm. So sure, Florida had 2 7-footers in there, but them 7-footers had to go guard them out at the 3-point line.
Yeah, draw them away from the hoop.
Yeah,
but I thought I would see more drives. Advantage. Yeah, I thought I would see us, like especially Bennett. I thought I would see more drive to the hoop since they had everybody out at the 3-point line. So, but Boy says Florida looked overconfident. So, Rick can't be on the show. He's out the dog park.
The dog park.
Yeah.
Oh, walking a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here's how we did it today. Koch was 4 for 6 on 3-point shooting. Do we want to know how bad Sturts was on 3-point shooting? I can tell you, he was 0 for 9. What's going on with him lately? Because earlier in the year, he was hitting everything he threw up.
He gets a few good looks at 3, but most of his 3-pointers are like the clock's running down, he's falling away. Mm-hmm. That would, and really long 3-pointers tonight. That would be my take. But
well, here's an interesting stat. Manuel had 6, Koch had 12, Sturts had 13, probably one of his lowest of his Iowa career. Combs with 6, Banks with 20, Alfalgaris with 14, Chirac with nothing, Sage with 2. And then the rest of them, Isaiah Howard played 14 minutes, but no stats what to speak of.
Well, Isaiah Howard's the one that shot the air ball on the free throw.
Oh, yeah. You remember my comment when I said that? That was my comment. I mean, it was like, God, he didn't even come close. I go, at least hit the freaking rim.
Yeah, but he is a good player,
He is.
It's like they said in the Forrest Gump movie, shit happens, So it's like, hey, the guy in the dog park, don't pick up any Tootsie Rolls.
There you go. Yeah. Number 10, who I thought really hurt us in the second half, had 19 points. But he was, and remember I said I thought he was hitting 3-point shots all over the place. He only hit 2. Is
he Condon or is who? What's his name? Number 10.
How? Okay. How? Or however they say. That Chinlo guy who averages 11 points and 11 rebounds, 0 points.
He got so many fouls.
One rebound, yeah.
Yeah, he got so many fouls, he didn't play a lot, probably.
That ex-Lee guy had 17 points, 7, 11, and 3 from 6 from the 3-point line. So he was the one that was burning us.
Yeah, I thought the second half, the Florida coach had a very good strategy. The second half, they decided they were taking the ball to the hole. Condon took it to the hole. All their guys were taking it to the hole. You know, they knew we weren't very deep, and Iowa either had to just let them go in and dunk and score, or we got fouls. You know, they were way more aggressive driving the ball in the second half, I thought. But,
so I just quickly looking over this roster for Florida. They got 7 foreigners on their team.
you know,
No wonder they won the title last year. But they ain't good. They don't have a chance to repeat. We took care of that.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
That good guard for them. I don't remember if his name was Bland or what it was. He was in the Final Four last year for a different team.
Oh, Fland?
Yeah.
Fland? Me
For
Fland.
Arkansas.
Okay. I didn't know that Arkansas made it to the Final Four last year. Okay.
Well, maybe they didn't, but he played for Arkansas in the tournament last year, and everybody thought he was going to go pretty good in the NBA draft. And then he probably decided to just take a wad of money to go play for Florida. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
Well, Lee had 17 points. Condon had 21. Nobody else did much of anything. I just thought the key is we kept them in foul trouble, and they kept us in foul trouble. So I thought it kind of neutralized itself. In the long run, I was a little concerned though when Cam Manuel, I think he had back to back stupid plays. He missed an easy lay-in. He stepped on his own shoe or something going down.
Well, one time he made a great defensive play at half court and stole the ball, and he was dribbling in, and they dribbled it off his foot, which
Well, this is where, and I know he wanted to look good and get it stuffed and everything, but this is probably where he should have stopped and waited for his team to catch up to him. I mean, he was definitely going up. What?
I kind of think, knowing him, what he was going to do was he had 2 guys coming to him, and he had, I think it was Isaiah Howard coming down the middle of the lane. I think he'd just, if he could have picked it up, he'd have flipped it over his shoulder, and that kid would have dunked it. But Cam's a good passer, you know. But
then he tried to go up, and he didn't finish the shot. You know, this is what gets me. You know, these guys have the capability, and they have point blank shots at the rim, and they don't really try to score. That they just try to draw the fouls, and it's just like, hell, Cam, just score it, because you're not going to get any points at the free throw line because you're horrible.
It's a little different at tournament time, you know. That great big Florida guy couldn't make his dunk. Another Florida guy.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah. Not only did he miss
that was at the start of the game.
Yeah.
And then another Florida guy went in for an easy layup, and he thought we were going to foul him, and he shot it off the backboard and didn't even hit any rim. You know, so
well, there was the one where he went up for a dunk, he missed it, and then he actually rebounded it, and then we took the ball away from him.
Yeah, that was right at the start of the game.
Okay.
That was a little bit of good luck. So
yeah. No, I just they got off to a quick start, and we came right back and took the lead and held the lead for most of the all of the rest of the first half and most of the second half until about 5 or 6 minutes left to go in the game when they came back. Came back and took their first lead of the game, and then Iowa's credit, they didn't fold, they didn't give up.
Yeah.
You know?
I think they got a lead right there. I think in the second half, Florida got a lead with like 11 minutes to go, and it was just back and forth, and then didn't Florida get they got a 3-point lead, and they had the ball, and the ball went out of bounds, and we used we said it was out on them, and so we got the ball back. That kind of, thank God for replay.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, and we had 2 successful challenges, and both times we ended up with the ball back. That was huge, especially late in the game on that last one. And you could clearly, when it went out of bounds, first of all, I said, That wasn't off a Koch. That was off of that dude. Come on. How can we do that? And I go, I hope Ben challenges it, and he challenged it.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody looking at home could see that was the wrong call. And then, of course, we had the other one where the guy threw it into the at the head of the referee. The referee, all he saw was our guy touched it, and then next thing he knows, he's bouncing the ball off his head. So, as far as he's concerned, it was off of Iowa, but it wasn't.
Well, there's sure a lot of happy people tonight, Dean.
There's going to be Hawkeyes all over the nation, and you know who the person who's not going to be happy tonight is Fran McCaffrey. Sorry, Fran Tarkenton's dead. He's a quarterback.
Fran's probably pretty happy that Koch had a good game and stuff. So, I didn't know who you were going to say. Who ain't happy tonight? But
and probably not Connor either. Probably not Connor either. I'd like to go on Twitter tonight or X to see what Connor has to say.
I know our friend Steve Crafton sure is happy tonight.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure all former Hawkeyes are happy.
And then he coached McCollum, and then he also coached Fred Hoiberg. So it'll be interesting the next game in the Crafton household. But
that's right. He was an assistant coach at Iowa State when Hoiberg played, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
oh man, I would have loved to hear more stories about him and God dang, what was the coach's name?
Johnny Orr.
Johnny Orr, yeah, I would love to hear more stories. He had great stories going on.
Yeah,
too bad that interview got so long we had to end that. Now he won't come back on.
Steve, he said that night he said Ben reminds me of Lute Olson, and I think Steve hit it right on the nail. The nail right on the head. So.
Yeah. So are we this year's Cinderella team? We beat Nebraska, and I don't know I forget who we would meet in the Elite Eight.
I wasn't prognosticating Iowa to get past this game, so I didn't even know we were going to play Nebraska until you guys started talking about it and everything. So, I have no clue. Okay.
Okay. Replay says, Boy says, replay in fact showed that Folgers did in fact make a fist. I thought he was gone, and he punched the ball. And he punched. And that's because he punched the ball or hit the ball, one of the two.
I don't think he made no fists. They kept showing it over and over again, and the announcer says, he made a fist, he made a fist. Then finally one of them seen the same thing I did and goes, well, you really didn't make a fist.
It's like kind of an open-handed half fist thing.
He's like it looked like he was going to make a fist, and then his hand came out like that.
Yeah.
And wham right on the ball. Thank God he didn't hit the guy, But.
I keep thinking that maybe he just had his cooler head side prevailed and thought, you know what? Oh, I better not. I'm just going to come down.
I know one thing. Mr. Fulgaris earned his $1 million tonight.
Is that what we paid him to come?
Oh, he got a lot of money. He was player of the year in his league, and he's 6'10", with some skills. The average big guy, they say now, is worth between $2.5 and $3.5 million.
Yeah.
So giving a guy like, I don't know what we paid him, but I would almost guarantee it was well over $1 million. But boy, the way he played tonight was worth it, and especially that last shot. Boy.
Yeah. I'm just so used to us not making those shots. I half expected that shot not to go in, but when it went in, I about jumped out of my chair, and then when I saw how much time was left, I go, crap, that's enough time for them to come down and get the game winner. But I was jumping up and down for joy. My wife sat down and watched the end of the game with me, and just like, yes. Okay, Rick says that multiple people are here walking dogs after the game to unwind and take it in. Yeah, that was kind of a wow. That was a game to you know, what a
Yeah.
fun game that was, and so much different than the Clemson game, as far as I'm concerned.
So much yelling in the house. It's a wonder the dogs even waited to poop outside. I'm an old livestock person. Boy, when a cow or a horse or a dog or gets excited about something, it kind of speeds up the activity there. But anyway,
I think your internet went out again. Okay.
did it?
Boy says he got lucky. I know what I see. Um, my friend Trevor says, "Congrats, Dino. 2 boys moving on. Iowa boys moving on." Thank you, Trevor. You watched the game. I know Mark, our friend Mark W. did. He sent me a text after the game.
Pretty good week with 2 victories for the men and a victory for the women. And I was satisfied with how the wrestlers did.
Yeah.
Getting fourth.
But then I'm a little sad because the Iowa women play tomorrow at 11 o'clock my time, and I won't be able to watch it. We're getting kicked out of my house tomorrow.
Well, you can go watch. Oh, yeah. It ain't like you can go to a local bar and watch it because you're not in Iowa or Illinois.
But Buffalo Wild Wings will have it on if I want to go there and watch it.
There you go.
But yeah, we got a lot going on tomorrow, and I got to deal with a car breaking down for the 3rd time.
That's not good.
No, got the house cleaning people come to help us get the house ready to sell, and yeah, then I got to get my hearing aids fixed because I haven't had any hearing aids for a week. And top of all that, I got to see if I can get some door dashing in and make some money because I'm going to need a lot of money.
Yeah. The Iowa women have a tremendous point guard they're going to play against tomorrow, and a very big team that likes to block shots. So
yeah. Well, here's what I deducted. I said this morning on the little quick review show. I think her last name is Johnson. She's the only person in double figures scoring. And there's another girl who's averaging 6 rebounds a game. So I don't know. I think when ESPN re-ranked everybody, all the top 32 teams the 32 teams left, they put they moved Iowa out of the top 8 and moved them into number 12, and Virginia comes in at number 32.
yeah.
Now we'll find out. That doesn't mean anything. They've won 2 games they weren't expected to win. So we'll see what happens.
ESPN. You can't predict a basketball game. I would have never said I thought Iowa was going to win tonight. But ESPN before tonight probably had Florida as one of the top 2 teams in the whole tournament.
Well, there's a lot of brackets busted tonight because a lot of people had Florida winning it all. Yeah. A lot of brackets went busted tonight, and that's going to help me because I picked Iowa in this game, and my bracket's still alive.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'd rather. I told you guys on Messenger. I hope the Iowa women, who I have going to the final Elite 8, and I had the men as not going past tonight. I hope they ruin my bracket because I don't really care about my bracket. No. I care about my Hawkeyes. So
yeah, anyway. That's true. Yeah. So okay. Yeah, it should be interesting tomorrow with the women. The men going Sweet 16. Now we focus on the women getting by Virginia. Watch them now get upset tomorrow because
Well, I don't know. I just know that Iowa tends to play better in the NCAA tournament when they're not at home. But
that didn't help last year when we played Oklahoma because we were getting pretty well smoked away from home.
No, but that was a hell of an Oklahoma team, But I think we just tend to play tight at home. The girls do in the NCAA tournament. Of course, you're never going to play an NCAA tournament men's game at home. But anyway, but that was a wake up call. Wake up call the last game against Farley Dickinson. So
Yeah. Boy says Jan got to be careful. Could be another Oklahoma game like last year. And okay.
I don't think Virginia's anything like Oklahoma.
No,
but
I don't think so either. Honestly.
But they got some good players.
Yeah, they got some good players. I mean, so do we. I think the one thing is we definitely need to score 80 points in this game, or at least a high 70s, in order to win this, because we can't be going around and not making baskets anymore, and our 3-point shooting is gone kaput, and we haven't scored more than 65 points in the last 4 games. And I think that needs to be shored up, and we need to actually hit. Maybe this is the game where our shooting comes alive, but have you ever heard of an entire team whose 3-point shooting went south at the same time? And that's what we have.
Well, that's what we had in the last game.
It was like that before too.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just know that Chit Chat's been a real good 3-point shooter, seemed like consistently.
She went from being number 1 in the nation to number 4 now.
Yeah. And Stremlow, to me, has been pretty good 3-point shooter, ever since she starting. But I don't know. You've got a better memory there than I do. I don't know. But
and one thing I'd like to point out
but one thing I'd like to say is, Dean, if we look, we played Michigan twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before we played them twice, they were averaging like 80 some points a game.
Yeah.
So I really don't think we have to score 80 points to beat Virginia, because Virginia is not near the offensive juggernaut that Michigan is. They do not shoot that great. They're just like a 31% from 3, 44% from 2, they're not like Michigan. So I don't agree with it has to be a high scoring game. I think we could win it. I think we could win it 55-45. I think we could win it 80-70. Yeah. Hopefully we don't lose it is all I care about.
Well, the most important thing about today is we won. We're going on to the Sweet 16, first time in 27 years. And I think that is way to go. Coach Hack, our former co-host on the football side of things, said, I disagree, Dean. No way that Virginia scores more than 65. Okay. We'll win the game if that's the case.
Yeah, On3 wrote a good article on Virginia that their stats look pretty good, rebounding and stuff. But when they played kind of a junky schedule, and then they played some good teams. Never beat hardly any good teams.
Well, here's what I look at.
That's probably why ESPN has them rated down farther. But they piled up a lot of them rebounding and scoring stats against the poor teams.
Okay. But, they're 11-7 in the ACC this year. I don't know what else they did in their tournament. I didn't pay attention to that. And I think they were undefeated in the non-conference, if I remember right, looking at that. But I could have looked at that wrong. Maybe they lost a couple, which tells me that, like you said, they played a junky schedule, but they still managed to win 11 out of 18 games in the ACC.
Okay. Yeah. And one thing I want to remind people is about another news thing is tomorrow is the pro day for the Iowa football players, where the NFL scouts all the players that weren't in the NFL combine will perform for the scouts tomorrow. It's a big day for Gronk and Hayden Large and Herkett and whomever else wasn't at the NFL combine. And some of the guys that went to the NFL combine, if they weren't happy with their 40s or something they did at the NFL Combine, they can retest tomorrow. So that's another thing on the agenda tomorrow. I'm sure we'll hear about it during the day, how they did.
Okay. And one other thing I'd like to do before we leave the airway here tonight is talk about Iowa wrestling and they're all Americans and the fact they finished 4th in the team standings. Penn State blew away the competition with 181.5 points. Okie State, which is no surprise to me, 131 points. Nebraska, 100 points plus 0.5. Iowa, 92.5, and Ohio State, 84.5. I think our guys, we had 7 All-Americans. All of them, I think, overperformed their seed. I don't think any of them, except for Mikey Caliendo, actually was seeded at that high in the tournament. But Mikey Caliendo finishes as the runner-up, and I didn't get a chance to see that match, but I understand that it wasn't pretty. He pretty much got smoked in that.
Yeah. Messenbrink is a great wrestler. He was outstanding wrestler of the tournament, I would presume. But
Patrick Kennedy finishes 3rd. Drake Ayala finishes 5th after finishing national runner-up 2 years in a row. Ben Keeter finishes 5th at heavyweight. What did he finish last year? About the same, or?
I suppose. Ferrari defaulted, so he got 5th.
Yeah. Ryder Block at 149 took 6th. Not bad. I didn't even give him a prayer to be an All-American. So, good job, Ryder Block. As we said, Angela Ferrari took a medical defeat or whatever you want to call it. So he finished 6th. I just don't understand. I mean, this is the second time Angelo Ferrari didn't get his way, so he just, if he wasn't wrestling for first place, it seems to me like he just decided not to wrestle.
We do know he's been wrestling injured, so he missed I don't know how many meets. What he injured. We seen him injure that leg, whether it was his quad or his knee or whatever. So it ain't like he did this out of the blue. The Ferrari that I was mentioned that forfeited was his brother. He was supposed to wrestle Keeter.
Oh, that was last year, right?
This year. AJ, is that his name?
Yeah, AJ. Yeah. Why did AJ forfeit?
I think he's Keeter's buddy, I think. But Keeter got 5th. He was going to wrestle for 5th and 6th and wrestle Ferrari, who he never beats Ferrari, And but Ferrari medically forfeited. So I don't know why he did it, but I know him and Keeter are very, very good friends. But anyway.
And then I want to point out that Gabe Arnold took 7th at 197, which is up 2 weight classes up from what he's normally scheduled for. And this is we don't know the whole story, what happened, but as we remember, he did leave the team in the summer and came back in time for the first semester, if you remember right. And we don't know why he actually left, unless there are rumors out there I don't know about. But
I don't know. He was the lowest seeded wrestler at 27th that finished as an All-American. So he did a great. I think he lost his first match and then he won like 6 or 7 in a row. So he really battled back.
Well, good for him. Good for him. And then I believe in the first couple rounds, Iowa did not give up a takedown. They wrestled very aggressively. I think in the first round they had some tech falls, maybe a pin. I don't. I think I don't. It's all blurred to me because that's back. But I did promise my wife I wouldn't be on this long tonight. So I just want to say this is great. This is fantastic. Sweet 16, here we come. Nebraska, get ready to end your season.
Final four, baby.
Let's don't get the cart before the horse. But if we remove Nebraska out of the way, we remove 2 two major top 4 teams out of the
Well, we know
way.
we know that we can beat Nebraska.
Yeah, because we've already
Right?
proven we can. Yep.
I just have no idea whether it's Houston. I don't know who's on the other side of the bracket.
I don't remember
have no
either.
clue. But anyway,
The honest truth is I don't even think I had Nebraska in the spot. I think I had them losing this game today that they won, and I was thinking, I don't remember, who did they beat?
you're asking another feeble-minded old guy. I don't know.
Okay. Doesn't matter.
Who did they beat today?
Yeah.
Or was it even today? Or was it yesterday?
That could have been. Yeah. Oh, they beat Vanderbilt by 2 points.
Oh shit, yeah. That was last night. The Vanderbilt guy's shot went in and came out. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
I know Vandy wasn't happy with that, but
yeah. Okay. Boys reminded me that it was Vandy. Collector's Dream is giving me a bunch of fire emojis, it looks like. I can't tell. My eyes are that bad. Collector says, great win. We know it's a great win. You should have been here. Come back and watch the beginning, because we were all giddy at the beginning.
I wonder if Boy knows who is on the other side of the bracket where Nebraska is. who we'd play if we beat Nebraska. I had Florida to go into the Final Four, so I have no clue.
So who? If we get past Nebraska, who's next, guys? Who's next? Can you guys tell us that real quick?
Is it Purdue? Is it Houston? Is it St. John's? I don't know.
Yeah, I think this is. I don't really think I must have messed up my bracket somehow, because I don't remember me having us play Nebraska and winning this game. So I must have had us playing Vanderbilt or something and losing.
Yeah, I had Vanderbilt beating Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I had Vanderbilt men and the Vanderbilt women going quite a ways. Just not to the Final Four, but anyway. So boy ain't gonna bail us out here and tell us.
I guess not. France Party of 3 says, get ready for Corn War 3. One game at a time, boy says. One game at a time. No, this is fun, guys. I mean, we weren't originally going to do this until tomorrow night.
Wasn't Tavian Banks ridiculous tonight, Dean?
He played a great game until he got in foul trouble, and then I think he just had a hard time getting it going again. But his free throw shooting tonight was awful.
I know.
Let me go back.
He still had a great game.
This is the same guy that had 30 free throws in a row. 30 free throws in a row.
Charles Barkley just said Tavian Banks, he said, other than his free throws, he was ridiculous, he said. He said he could have hit his free throws. He said he'd have had 28 points or something like that, But anyway.
Okay, Banks was, are you ready for this? 5 for 10.
You're talking about free throwing?
Yeah. 6 rebounds, 3 turnovers. He had 4 personal fouls, but 7 for 10 on field goals, and the 1 3-pointer. He needs to shoot more, because they were saying that was only like his 7th 3-pointer or something that he's made this year, or something like that. But he has like a 47% 3-point shooting average. So when he chooses to shoot, he usually makes them.
He said in the press conference yesterday that he's tried to get an extra year, and so far they won't give it to him.
Oh, so far he's been turned down?
He should get it, because he was at a junior college one year.
Yeah. Precedent's already been set. NCAA is already coming out that they're not, since the junior colleges aren't NCAA schools, they can't hold those schools eligibility wise to those people.
I don't think anybody's going to tell us who else is in the Iowa-Nebraska bracket, so we might as well get off here, Dean.
That's what I think too. My wife is jumping up over there, up and down for joy.
Yeah, I don't think Falgaris made a fist, but I think your wife is about to.
Yeah, here we go. Fist. Left-handed. Wait, I gotta do it right-handed. There we go. All right, fist bump. There we go. All righty.
Yep.
We'll see you guys after the game tomorrow. The women. Bye-bye.
Mhm.
Out. Go Hawks.